Hello, welcome to Not Another Who podcast. I'm Sam Morrell.
And I'm Chris Hyde.
Hello, Chris. How are we doing this
Hello,
week?
Sam. All good. I've been rewatching Series 1, not Season 1, not Series 15, Series 1. And not Series 1 from 1963 either. How have you been?
Yeah, I've been good. I've been good. I've also been watching Series 1,
How come?
which I don't know. Is there some anniversary coming up, or
Well, let's just think. When was the last time Doctor Who was fully rebooted? And I think 2005, wasn't it?
yeah? Well, there was a failed attempt in '96, but yeah, 2005.
Yeah. So it must have been the 20th anniversary, or it will be the 20th anniversary by the time this episode comes out.
Maybe.
Maybe.
A couple of days after, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
I love how sarcastic we're going with this one.
Yeah. We can be a bit sarcastic at times, so
That's just Britishness for you, isn't it, really?
yeah. Right, any news?
Oh, well. Let's go into the news corner. This is me going into the news corner.
You just
First off, sorry, cut you off there.
you just need the BBC News music. You know that I can't do it.
I can't.
I can
do
do the ITV one. Da, 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 dun, dun, da, dun. There you go.
That's good. I'll go with that. Thank you for your theme. So the auction that was done for Children in Need has concluded, and £245,000 was raised for the charity. Including a very notable Doctor Who fan and fellow podcaster, Matthew Toffolo, who got his hands on a Sea Devil.
One and a half of Review of Death.
Yes, the better half, you might say.
Oh no.
I'm not going to start a feud.
No, we're not going to start a feud.
No, they're both good. But yeah, Matt posted online that he got a Sea Devil costume, and many other people have bought bits and bobs from the show, including Rose Tyler's costumes and Dave Tennant's tux, all of that jazz. Also, the Adventure in Space and Time box, the TARDIS from that one. Other news, we have Freddie Fox is joining season 2 of Doctor Who. If you know Freddie Fox,
he's gonna be the big bad, isn't he?
I think people are assuming from the photos. I mean, he does look villainous. There is a bit of a vibe going on, but I personally think it might be a bit more anti-hero-ish, maybe a bit more sort of roguish.
Especially with that mullet.
Oh yeah, I mean the mullet's a crime in itself. Let's be honest. But it's actually been a decade since Freddie Fox last worked with RTD. Do you know what show that was?
Is it banana or cucumber or something?
Pretty much, yeah. It was the 3 series because there's banana, cucumber, and tofu. Tofu
Yeah.
was the documentary behind the scenes. Banana was one side, cucumber was the other. It was a very good series, I have to admit.
I've not seen it.
It's worth a watch, I'd say. If you're into LGBT drama, it's quite good. And then we've had a bit of sad news this week. We've had Simon Fisher Becker, who played Dorian Moldovar in series 6 and 7.
Yeah,
Series
I think
6.
he was in series 6 and 7.
Yeah. So he's unfortunately passed away. He was most notable for obviously Doctor Who, One Foot in the Grave, The Bill.
Was he in that?
He was, yeah. And yeah, and other stuff. Yeah, he died on the 9th of March. Unfortunately, so only about sort of 5 days ago. 6.
Yeah.
Nearly a week, basically. So yeah, it's a bit of a sad one because he wasn't necessarily a major role in Doctor Who, but he had one of those interesting character roles where you enjoyed every time he was on screen.
Yeah.
And a fantastic actor as well.
He was a fantastic actor. He was in a lot of stuff, as long as my right arm. I do actually have a personal story about him. About 6 years ago, I was president of the Doctor Who society at my university, and we set up a convention, and he was one of the guests.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah.
Was he quite nice?
Yeah, he was a brilliant guest. He talked about his behind the scenes, what he did behind the scenes, and in preparing for his Doctor Who role. And he did talk about his career, and it's pretty sad that he passed away.
Yeah, and I think having met actors, obviously we appreciate them for the work that they do on screen and the way that they're, entertaining us, and I think when you build that sort of parasocial relationship in a sense, because let's be honest, you can form a bond with any sort of on-screen celebrity or personality, no matter sort of how big or small their influence or whatever. And I think it's one of those where, yes, it's always tragic when they pass because you feel like they could have done more in terms of, you would have liked to see them in more stuff, or you actually get a sense of, I want to see what his filmography and stuff like that. Because I remember when Alan Rickman passed, and that was devastating for me because I'd met him.
You met him?
Yeah. It's
Like,
not Doctor Who related, so I won't go into it.
my girlfriend would be so jealous.
He's a lovely guy. He is a lovely guy.
Yeah.
But because it's Doctor Who related, I'm not going to go sort of too into it. But I remember when he passed, and that effect on me was like, wow, you know, such a superb actor, and you know, the hopes of possibly working with them one day has kind of gone. But it's nice. It's nice that actors like him as well, like Simon, did conventions for not just like the big dogs, like London Film and Comic Con and Birmingham MCM, but did the smaller venues such as university campus.
Yeah, he was very can't speak today.
Graceful.
Graceful, that's it. I was like, what am I saying? Yeah.
So
yeah, he was very grateful.
And I think it's also nice because, like, was it a success, that convention?
Yeah, we had other Doctor Who like guest actors. We had Prentice Hancock there. He was in Planet of Evil, Planet of the Daleks, and the Rebos Operation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had Simon there, and God, who was the other one? There was another one. I can't think of the other one. Oh, it don't matter, but yeah, it was a good day in their company and speaking about their career. We had a screening of Simon's first appearance in the series, and
oh, cool.
We had a screening of Planet of Evil as well. So yeah, it was a really good day.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
Yeah. Any other news?
Not that I could see. I think because we're approaching. Oh, we had BBC Idents revealed for season 2. The Idents are the Eiffel Tower, a London taxi cab, and the Statue of Liberty floating through space.
Yeah.
They aren't the best idents, really. It's literally just them floating, and then you hear the theme sort of fade in.
Yeah.
It's not as good as like the David Tennant ones in 2009, or the Daleks, the BBC Two Daleks. They were fantastic.
And
Doctor Who has had a... No, sorry.
And the idents for David Tennant's final episodes as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The 2009 ones.
Oh, did you just say that?
Yeah. Do you not listen?
Yeah, I was listening. I was just having a brain fart.
Yeah. Doctor Who has had a legacy of BBC idents and promotional stuff. We've had like Capaldi in Series 8 would do a sort of glitchy thing with the BBC One intros, and obviously the notorious Graham Norton idents that appeared at the end of Series 5 episodes when they were doing that Over the Rainbow talent show thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to cover BBC idents going forward, but these ones just seem a bit lackluster.
Yeah, they're a bit bland, aren't they?
Mm.
Yeah, they're not.
But that's it about.
It's not.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's not going to be idents that we're going to remember.
No, I think with BBC idents that you remember, it's the ones that make the most impact.
Mm. Yeah.
And obviously with just floating through space, it's not really much of an impact. Whereas, like, you remember the 2009 Christmas episode ones because not only were you excited for the episode, but because it's memorable.
Yeah. Go on.
No, I was going to let you finish.
And there was a character options figure released as well.
Oh,
The
yes. Oh gosh.
the limited edition John Pertwee with the sonic screwdriver.
And a giant maggot and some glowy crystal thing from I think the demons or something.
Glowy crystal.
People have been saying
it could be.
People were saying that the Doctor looked like the one from the demons.
He does, yeah. Which is one of my favourite stories.
I think for £44 though, a Doctor and a sonic screwdriver.
It's a bit steep.
Yeah, like I would get it if I were a collector. I gave up collecting days a while ago because of how ridiculous it is. My local B&M literally never stocks anything Doctor Who related, and when it does, it's always the stuff you don't want.
Yeah.
Like, I've always wanted to collect all the history of the Dalek sets because I love the Dalek designs. And every time I can't get the one, like, I really want a Resurrection of the Dalek set and a Remembrance set. Can't get them. And then they're price gouged online, so it's not worth it.
Yeah. Not worth it. Yeah, so I think that's all the news.
About it for Doctor Who news.
Yeah. So,
shall we get into the meat and potatoes of this mammoth episode?
Yeah. So, Series 1, 20 years ago.
I remember watching it when it was out.
Did you tune in for the first episode?
I don't think I did. I think I tuned in around Dalek. I think that was my first. It's the one I can remember the most vividly from Dalek onwards.
Yeah.
But I remember one time literally just sitting down, having my dinner, and then Doctor Who was on. But I like Series 1. I think it's really underrated.
Oh yeah, it's so underrated. Everyone barks on about Tennant and gush about it, but Series 1, I love Series 1.
Well, one of my thoughts, because we're doing this retrospective in 3 parts, so we're only covering the first 4 episodes today. And what I noticed is that this has probably the best start to any series since, like, I don't know, series 4 or 5.
Series 5 has a great opening.
Well, like
With,
if you think the first 4 episodes of Series 5,
yeah, the first
it's quite solid.
5 episodes, pretty solid, yeah. It goes
Obviously,
downhill
Victory of the
after
Daleks
Series
is.
5, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
But
it's a bit
yeah,
hit and miss.
sorry.
It's a bit hit and miss
Yeah.
after Series 5.
I think that's where the quality starts to show, because you start seeing after Series 5 the formula becomes too formulaic.
Yeah.
You know, the cracks start to show afterwards, but I think with Series 1 especially, because it basically copied Buffy the Vampire and teen/young dramas of that era, that
Yeah.
it was focusing on the core, building the characters, building the emotion, giving the Doctor some sort of agency in the story, but also making the companion on the same level and not just a shrieking, mess in every episode. Like classic Who did have, shrieking companions in every episode. There were some companions that worked really well, and there was some that just didn't,
Yeah. Rose Tyler, I like her more with the 9th Doctor than I do with the 10th Doctor. Are you on the same page, or do you rather?
I'll say that I don't mind Rose and 10, because for me, nostalgia goggles fully on. For me, I didn't necessarily care about the romance side of early New Who. I felt like, it was just something that other shows were doing at the same time, and they needed to have some sort of through. I know, kind of, when you look back on it, I think the romance side doesn't work so well, but I feel like Rose's character feels constant throughout series 1 and 2. But I think she's stronger in series 1 because you're building up your appreciation of her, and I do like how her and the 9th Doctor work in both tandem and opposites.
Yeah.
There's some absolutely phenomenal bits where you see her rubbing against the Doctor in terms of like the morality or the situation. She proves her worth in the first episode. By the end of Rose, that she has solidified herself in the Doctor's eyes as a worthy companion without having to state it explicitly.
Yeah, I kind of like the conflict between Rose and the Doctor in this series. There's some bits, like in episode 2, they have that little spat in on that deck
on platform 1.
Yeah. Rose telling the Doctor, "Who are you?" and all that. Which
And he goes the
think it
whole
was
"this is me" kind of thing.
This is who I am here and now, and yeah, I kind of like them moments. Yeah, it's like later on you don't really get that with future companions.
Yeah, I think I think it starts to become a bit too ignoring the complications of traveling in time and space and just going full on adventure. You know, the idea that Rose is, because let's be honest, she's actually quite young at this point. She's not the youngest companion the Doctor's ever had, but she's 19, so she's
Yeah.
only just sort of become an adult. So you get a sense of, okay, so she's making her way in the world. She doesn't know, obviously. She's still naive. She has that naivety, but she does feel full of herself and confident, and
Mm.
I think it works really well because I think, yeah, as you say, she, like, the bit where the Doctor explains how the aliens are speaking English and the TARDIS is inside her head, and she's like, well, you didn't, you know, it's basically a commentary on consent. But because they never
Yeah.
use the word consent explicitly, and it's more hinted at as you're invading my brainwaves kind of thing. And then you'd see in like, for example, season 1 last year, if Shooty had said that, Millie's character would have gone, oh, that's fine then, and just got on with it.
Yeah.
There's no bark to that bite.
Yeah. Yeah. So, episode 1, we had Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it stands up? I think it's a great opener for the series. We get the Autons, which I do prefer in past adventures. In Spearheads from Space and Terror of the Autons. Like their designs slightly different. I kind
And
of
also, they
prefer them.
sorry,
I kind of prefer them in their classic Who
yeah,
incarnation.
I'd say they get a bit more creative with the whole plastic thing in Classic Who. Like,
Yeah,
they're a bit more creative with like dolls or telephone cords, or things that you would think like the plastic chair. So I feel like with Rose, the Autons aren't. You get like the wheelie bin and like the fake Mickey, which I feel
God.
like is more of a Zygon thing.
Yeah.
We'll get to
I didn't.
those, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to sort of say that, like, I feel like the way Nuwho treats classic monsters, it kind of goes, we're going to bring this classic monster back, but we're going to change so much that it becomes pretty much unidentical to the thing that we're trying to reference. And yeah,
Yeah.
I would say overall, Rose has one of the best. It's probably one of the best introductions to Doctor Who you can possibly get. It's up there with Spearhead
Yeah.
from Space. It's up there with Series 5. The
11th hour.
hour. I'd say, okay, controversial hot take. I liked The Woman Who Fell to Earth.
Yeah, it was a good opener, I think.
It was a very,
Yeah.
very good opener, but it went literally downhill from there.
Yeah, it went tits up after that.
Yeah. So I think with Rose, it stands up 20 years later. The visual effects bit wobbly,
Yeah,
but overall, I like the fact that they use miniatures in this as well. Like they're still using classic Who visual effects, special effects.
yeah.
You know,
They've not fully gone the CGI route. They're still using them old school effects.
I absolutely
Wait,
love practical effects. I will
I
take
love
a
practical
practical effect
effects.
over a visual effect any day.
Yeah, CGI. Yeah, it's sometimes hit or miss.
Mm.
They can do it really good, or it just looks crap.
Well, yeah, it's. I think with practical effects, you kind of get the same thing. Where if it looks too obvious that it's a practical effect, then it looks fake. But if you do it in the right way, where you make it believable, it feels like magic. With visual effects and CGI, it doesn't feel like magic. It feels like, oh, I know, you've just put that on you've just rendered that because, you need some. It's why I don't like Marvel films, for example. I don't like the whole CGI fighting or blowing stuff up all the time. I like there to be a sense of practicality. I can actually feel like this world exists.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's what
it's a
this
bit.
series gets really right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's some effects that don't really age too well. It's like the burping bin. It's a bit.
Yeah. I liked there was one visual effect shot that did work very well, and that was before Mickey gets dragged into the bin. And I like the fact that there was a little bit of practicality because you can clearly see that like the bin is moving. It's not just a CGI
Yeah,
bin moving. Someone's pretty much dragging it along. And I find that really interesting. So they do have a little bit of practical effect. It's just the whole bin eating him thing and then burping afterwards feels a bit stupid. It's a bit
yeah.
childish, but Doctor Who at its heart has that bit of childishness in it.
I was at that age. I was how old was I when this came out? I was 12 or 13.
I was 8.
Yeah, yeah. I was 12 or 13 when this came out. Um, when I had seen that burping bin, I was like, "Oh no, come on!" Because
Yeah, I
I've
think
seen I've seen a lot of like classic Who by that point, so I'm like, burping bin. Uh,
yeah, I think for me, because as an 8-year-old, you're more likely to like that kind of humor.
yeah.
So for
I
me,
was getting.
that's why I give it a free pass because I'm seeing 8-year-old me laughing at it instead of seeing 27-year-old me going, "Oh gosh, wow, what a silly idea."
Yeah,
It's like I can still see the child in me laughing at that.
yeah. I was getting in that stroppy teenage
Yeah.
stage where I'm like, well, I just want everything like dark and gritty. But talking about dark and gritty, Christopher Eccleston has that hard edge about his Doctor. Did you get that from him?
You know what he reminds me of? If you took the first Doctor and made him a bit more like battle hardened, he reminds me a lot of like William Hartnell. You know, he has got that
Yeah.
stern quality to him, but he also has that likable, mischievous side, and that humor comes out of him. You know, there's shots of him, you know, beaming with excitement in Aliens of London, and the bit where everyone's being introduced in End of the World, that all the aliens are being introduced, and he's sort of welcoming all these different species. And there's those hints of excitement and mischievousness that you would see in the first Doctor, but then he can like snap into being this really strict, really stern. You know, you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of him, kind of Doctor.
Yeah, I like that about him.
Yeah. And I absolutely
Go on.
love his
Sorry.
costume as well. No, it's all right. I absolutely love his costume as well. I think his costume's fantastic.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
And it's really interesting as well because I'll give you a little, because you gave me a little fun story about Simon. I'm going to give you a little fun story about Chris Eccleston.
You've met him.
I have. I used to work at
So.
a prestigious theatre company. I won't name any names. And he was performing at this theatre. And during his run, he would come into where I was working, and we'd always cross paths. And he was a very, very such a down to earth bloke, really nice. There was a time where I've basically I've also met his family. I've met his younger daughter Esme and his mum. And he has met my my nan as well. And yeah, but the entire time that I was around him, or you know, the entire time he was performing, I never spoke to him once about Doctor Who, mainly because at that time it was still before Big Finish. It was before he was going to come back in any capacity, and so I was really worried about getting on the wrong side of him. Because I didn't want to basically dilute his entire acting down to the Doctor Who role. Because you know he's a very talented actor. He's been in so many great things, like Thor, The Dark World. And yeah, and so I spoke to him mainly about just him and his family and who he is as a person. And I have to say, people saying that he's uptight or he's a bit of a dick are wrong, because he's, you know, fantastic, really. He literally is.
My favourite non-Doctor Who role of his career is Shallow Grave. Have you ever seen it?
Yes, that is one of Danny Boyle's first films.
Yeah, that performance. I love that
think my
performance.
favourite non-performance of his was as I can't remember his name, but he was in the A Word. If you've ever heard that show,
Yeah,
fantastic show.
it's a good series.
I talked to him a lot about that because I opened up to him about the fact that I was autistic. Well, my nan said that I was, because I hadn't disclosed it, and she was blurting out because the A Word is her favourite show as well, and he just took one look at me and was like, I just thought you were just you. There was nothing about that, and I felt like his performance as a granddad was really good because he felt down to earth, but also he wasn't going to treat his grandson any differently. He was obviously going to be a little bit more sensitive in some areas, but he was going to treat him as a normal grandson regardless of the disability, And I thought as in terms of like autism representation and like allyship, I think he did a fantastic job. Again, fantastic job. And I like him in series 1. It's so sad that there were certain things around the production that made him leave the role early, because I think he would have made a fantastic Doctor if he'd had a longer run.
Yeah, I really wish we got that second series.
Yeah, even 2 series and out, he would still be just as good.
Well, now we have the Big Finish
Yes.
stuff, which I still
genuinely
need to listen to. I've just not gotten round to. I've still not gotten round to
Finish episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I've still not gotten round to listening to any of his stuff yet.
Yeah.
I will have to make time to that. If we review a episode, maybe the Ninth Doctor and Rose Tyler series that's gonna come out soon. Is it 2026?
Let's leave it up to the fans. Yeah, I think 2026. But I was going to say, let's leave it up to the fans or the audience. So, if the audience wants us to dive into a bit of Big Finish and maybe us do a Big Finish episode, comment below. Make sure you're subscribed and you hit the bell notification every time we release a new video. And who knows, if we get enough support, then we'll do a Big Finish.
Yeah.
Promotion.
Yeah, when I did that, I was like, oh, it's that series 2 thing. Pete.
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I forgot what he said.
Trust me on this.
Yeah, trust me on this.
Man of the people, Pete Tyler.
Oh yes, Pete Tyler, which we'll discuss in a later installment.
I also like Jackie's mum. Rose's mum, Jackie.
Oh. Jackie's mom. When did we meet Jackie's mom?
Army of Ghosts, but we're not there yet. Oh wait, no, that's the dad. Do you not remember her?
Jackie's mom.
Remember Army of Ghosts? In Army of Ghosts,
I remember.
Jackie's dad appears as a ghost, or she thinks he is.
Yeah.
I got confused.
I was like, Jackie's mom. I was like, when did Jackie's mom appear? I was like, did I get my memory wiped or something?
It's actually quite weird that you don't meet Jackie's mum, providing that there's obviously Father's Day.
Yeah, she's never spoken about, really, is she?
No.
Maybe it's. Oh, we won't get into that.
No, that's a rabbit hole we don't want to get into today.
No.
But yeah, I like
No.
Jackie as a character. I think she's very well rounded. She really does bring that element of emotion to the show. I like her eccentricities and the fact, like her first meeting with the Ninth Doctor when she's in a dressing gown. That's just one of the most classic scenes of all time.
Yeah. She's trying to flirt with the Doctor. I'm like, that's not going to end well.
Oh,
And he
I
was
think
like,
it makes a really valid
no.
point that he is asexual.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like it was more him saying I'm not interested in general than just interested in her.
Yeah. I don't think he was interested in anybody, really, was he?
No, and I feel like there have been people that have made assumptions that Nine and Rose have a romantic vibe to them, and yes, I think to a certain degree that's like a half truth. But I think their relationship is more built on trust and adventure than it is on the romanticizing of the characters. We like Nine and Rose because they just fit together so well as a team. And that's
Yeah.
again what you get in like End of the World and them building up that relationship throughout the series.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to End of the World, or was there anything else on? Did you want to mention Noel Clark?
Nah.
Nah. Cool. So, End of the World takes place on Platform 1, a space station we will be revisiting quite a lot in future stories.
Yeah.
But I kind of like Platform 1 being a space-centered... Because obviously with Doctor Who back then, there wasn't enough of a budget to go really out there with the space adventures. So having having Platform 1 something you revisit in different stages, I think is really interesting because you see the lifespan of this space station and how it starts from being this... You see it as this station for observing the end of the world, to being a news corporation station, to then being one with the big bad at the end, pardon me, attacking them.
Yeah, the game station. Yeah, this is Rose's first foray into time travel.
I kind of like that the first adventure is futuristic.
Yeah, same
I
here.
think if you were given the choice between future and past, you'd want to go to the future first.
Yeah, they did the opposite with Martha in series 3. They went to the past, then to the future. They just swapped it about a bit. Yeah, but I do like some of the future stories more. But I do like some of the historical stories. Yeah.
Also, we have one of my favorite like one episode characters, the adherents of the repeated meme.
Oh yeah. What about the bitchy trampoline? Is she one of your favourites?
I only noticed this on the rewatch the other day, and I sent you the screenshots, so I hope you include them in this part. But obviously, back in 2005, memes were around, but they weren't in these like social consciousness as they are nowadays. You can't go online without seeing a meme straight away, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I heard the adherence of the repeated meme, for some reason my mind was like, I bet back then it sounded really futuristic, whereas now it feels like a meme, like an actual joke.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, Cassandra is interesting. I didn't really. I don't find her that I don't find her that entertaining of a character. She's not really that villainous. Yeah, she tries to blow up a space station and steal Rose's body, but she just feels really. Oh, she's such a weak villain. Like,
Yeah.
I love Zoe Wanamaker, and Zoe Wanamaker makes the voice so good, but you
Yeah.
know the whole trampoline thing, and you could easily just destroy her. You know, there's nothing about her that makes her intimidating. You know, it's just a
No.
stretchy skin on a frame.
Yeah. We meet the face of Bo.
Yeah,
His first of 3 appearances. Who also might be Captain Jack.
I probably don't think it is. I mean, we could debate this all day, but I think it was more of a
It was
a joke towards Barrowman than it
yeah.
was anything else. But
It was just a
I don't
throwaway,
mind the
I think.
face of Bo. Yeah, I don't mind the face of Bo, but again, he doesn't really do anything. Like he looks
No, it's
cool,
just a
but it's just a head in a box.
what does Lieutenant Doctor call him? Big old face or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, just a big old head. And
Yeah.
I like the robot spiders, and I liked
Oh yeah.
the steward and the maintenance worker. I thought they were interesting. And I like the Jabe. Is it Jabe and the wood trees, the tree people?
Yeah.
I thought they were interesting. There was a very interesting line where Jabe calls Rose a prostitute. Did you get this?
Yeah. Yeah. You pointed it out in conversation, and I was like, when was that said? I,
Yeah.
I went back. I was like, why has that never sunk in? That I don't know. It just
The
never
thing
sunk
is,
in, basically.
if you had it if you had like I don't know the Maestro calling Ruby Sunday a prostitute, you would not get away with that now.
No,
Like
no,
you would the BBC and Disney and all these people screaming, you know, about censorship and all that kind of stuff. They would have a full on meltdown because you had this. And I'm not saying it's bad. I don't think it should be appropriate in a children's TV show to have very explicit wording like that. But, it's so weird for RTD to do that.
Mm.
It blows my mind. It's what were you smoking, RTD? Or snorting?
2005 was a different era, basically, and they're just.
It's not like that's the go-to excuse. It's like the go-to excuse for John Barrowman's actions. It's like, if you wouldn't do it in your workplace, it's not acceptable. If you go into your workplace and you call one of your colleagues a prostitute or get your tackle out, you're obviously going to get fired. And I would bet anyone £100 to a charity of their choice, if they went into their place of work and did what John Barrowman did or whatever, I bet you that it wouldn't be acceptable and you would be fired.
Yeah.
And that's a bet to the entire Doctor Who fan base. I know times have changed, but times haven't changed that much. I think if you wouldn't get away with it back then, you wouldn't get away with it now.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, rant over.
Yeah, that's fine. I've lost track of thought now. After that rant. La 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 la.
I think this episode has a lot of interesting themes around, obviously, because it's the second episode, but it's Rose's first proper adventure. So you really see how she handles the, pun intended, alienness of what's going on. I think that's really interesting, how you handle a companion being in this weird, surreal world, and it's like, oh, this feels unnatural for some reason, and it's her having to acclimatize and get to know what she's doing. I think that's really good, but it is more of a Doctor focused, I'd say, episode.
Yeah, it was
With him
more
trying to
Doctor.
save the day, and
and it dealt with themes of morality, the end of the world, human nature as well. The difference between the Doctor's immortal perspective and Rose's human viewpoint.
And it doesn't say whether one is more righteous than the other. It doesn't say that Rose's point of view is more important than the Doctor's. It kind of gives them equal weight.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to discuss? Oh, sorry.
Rose also has that revelation that the universe is both beautiful and terrifying at the same time.
Which is quite a balanced view to have, really.
Yeah.
It kind of sums up the human experience of, the universe is terrifying. You could die tomorrow, but it's still beautiful. There's still stuff like nature and the wonders of the world. There's still stuff to appreciate about life, but it's also making sure that you don't just understand the risks, but you go, there are times where the risks don't seem as threatening, and so I can enjoy my life a little bit more. But if it feels a bit more risky, then obviously I'm a bit more cautious. So yeah, it's a very very good episode in terms of its subtext.
It is.
And as a great man once said, I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards. I'm guessing a very minor, a very minor part of our audience will get that quote.
Yes. Episode 3. Episode 3. Episode 3.
Oh yes,
Episode
I like
3.
this one.
The Unquiet Dead. It's a historical episode set in Cardiff during Christmas in 1869.
It is technically the unofficial Doctor Who Christmas, Ninth Doctor Christmas special.
Yeah. Most definitely. The Doctor and Rose arrives in Victorian Cardiff. It is Cardiff, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
To investigate a mysterious a mystery involving the dead rising.
Yes.
They encounter Charles Dickens in his first appearance in the show, who investigating the phenomenon of ghosts.
Well, he's more he's attending a performance of his A Christmas Carol, so he's doing a spoken word Christmas Carol performance, and in the performance is one of these unquiet dead people. And obviously things. Sorry.
Which we find out the aliens are called the NAWP.
Yeah, like gas-like beings from the rift. I find this episode is interesting. I love the whole embodying the vessels of the dead. And I like the creepiness of this episode a lot. It's always one that I always forget about in terms of series 1. I never really fully remember it, like looking back, but when you watch it, it's very entertaining from start to finish. Pardon me. And you also get a really fine performance from Simon Callow as Charles Dickens in this episode. You know, you have this really thespian, very, very respected actor coming on to Doctor Who, whereas, you know, the reputation of Doctor Who before wasn't always good, and so these reputable actors would sort of turn their nose up at it. But having someone like Simon Callow be the first historical guest as such, I think really heightens the status of the show.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, he starts out being really skeptical of the Doctor.
Yeah.
He just calls it a load of old hogwash or something like that.
He's very Scrooge-like, isn't he?
Yeah. And by the end of the episode, he's like laughing and joking. Hello, how are you doing? And all that. Happy Christmas! And Yeah, it's very Scrooge-like. His like character development throughout that episode.
Do you know who wrote this episode? A
Mark
member of the League
Gatiss.
of Gentlemen. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is another series I actually need to watch. I've seen clips of it, but not like
You've
a
never
full
seen League of
episode.
Gentlemen?
No.
Oh, it is one of the best. It's one of the weirdest series you'll ever watch. And Christopher Eccleston makes an appearance in series 3.
Yeah, I have actually seen that clip. I have seen clips of it, but I've not seen like a full proper episode.
Oh, it's so good. It's so funny. It's something that you would not get away with nowadays. People are too sensitive.
Yeah.
For that, but that humor, it was some of the darkest humor you would ever see. But yeah, going forward, Mark Gatiss has had a very strong connection to Doctor Who. He had previously appeared in a sketch with Matt Lucas and David Walliams. Or I think it might have just been David Walliams. It was a Doctor Who sketch. I think it's for Comic Relief.
Yeah. They were on in that black and white world, and like they're like
yeah,
and all that lot.
yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that
I swear, was he in the one where they kidnapped Peter Davison as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Mark Gatiss was along. Sorry.
Yeah, they tie him up on a chair or something, don't they? In one of their bedrooms.
And it's got like Doctor Who memorabilia plastered everywhere on the bed sheets, on the dressing table, on the walls. It's genuinely it's such a good sketch. If you can find a clip and put a clip in because it's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll try and find a clip, but
yeah, I think sorry.
Probably get copyrighted, to be honest.
Well, Night of the Living Dead wasn't copyrighted.
Yeah, true.
If it's only a small 10-second clip, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But Mark Gatiss, he's also been a fan of Doctor Who, since childhood. So he was one of the, writers coming up from that generation to help out with series 1. Obviously, we'll mention the big dog when the episodes come up. Hint, hint. The moth.
The moth.
But yeah, Gatiss. Right. Out of Gatiss's stories, I think this one is his strongest. Would you agree?
Yeah. What other stories did he write?
He wrote. Let me have a quick Google. Mark. Okay.
Crimson Horror is one of them, isn't it?
TV episodes. So, Cold War, The Crimson
Good
Horror.
episode.
I don't mind The Crimson Horror. It's not best,
that's not bad.
but it's up there with Meglos. Cold War is good. I'd say. Empress of
Yeah, it's a good
Mars.
episode. I like that one. That's a good one.
Idiot's Lantern.
Oh, I have a guilty pleasure for that one.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Robot of Sherwood.
Yeah. Oh, I kind of like that one as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, I don't. I find it so cringy. Night Terrors.
Night Terrors.
It's the series 6 episode with the dolls.
Oh, that one. That creepy.
I need to rewatch it because I haven't seen it for at least a decade, maybe more. I have a very complex relationship with Series 6.
The only thing I remember from Series 6 is that Lanor getting swallowed up into the floor.
Yeah. The only
that's
episode I really like of Series 6 is the God Complex in the hotel. It's the only episode I like. All the others are kind of he also did Sleep No More, which had Reece Shearsmith from Inside Number 9. And
I think I
he also
watched
did
episode
Victory of the
once.
Daleks. Yeah. Are you saying you haven't seen Inside Number 9?
No, I haven't seen that either.
Oh, fuck. Gosh. So, Inside Number 9 is one of the best things Britain has made in at least 50 years.
Well, it'd be on my list to watch.
Oh. We've got literally no one to talk about Inside Number 9, A League Gentlemen with. It's so niche, but it's so good. But yeah, Mark Gatiss has written quite a few. I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's written 9 episodes over the last 20 years.
Bad going. Not bad going.
And I would say out of the writers that we've had, I think he's had some consistent good ones, and then some not so good and some terrible. But I do think this is his probably strongest episode.
Yeah, it is definitely his strongest episode.
Do you want to know a fun fact about this one?
Yeah, go on.
So, as I've been rewatching the episodes, I have also been rewatching the Doctor Who Confidentials. And this episode, so Sneed and Sons, is a reference to the Talons of Weng Chiang. I'm pretty sure it's a reference to a Tom Baker story. This episode was actually filmed in Swansea and a little bit of Cardiff. And Russell T Davies, when interviewed, he said that he wanted to make the first. Pardon me. He wanted to make the first Cardiff-based episode, and Mark Gatiss beat him to the punch. What else? Euros Lynn did the directing for this one because we had Euros Lynn, Jonas. Is it Jonas something? Doctor Who Series 1. Yeah, so we had Keith Boak, who did a significant block of Doctor Who filming. We had Euros Lyn, who did both Unquiet Dead and End of the World. And we had Joe Ahern, who did Dalek, Father's Day, Boomtown, Bad Wolf, Parting of the Ways. And then James Hawes for the kind of the two World War II stories. And Euros Lyn is one of my favourite Doctor Who directors.
Talking about Joe Ahern, that's actually Christopher Eccleston's favourite director to working with on the show. Do you know that?
I think I heard somewhere that I think they had a very, very good idea of what they wanted from the performance and what they wanted from the episode, and I think that was the good working side of Doctor Who. That was the one that worked more.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Any last thoughts on
I liked Eve Miles's performance.
Dead? Oh yeah, Eve
We haven't
Miles. We
spoken
didn't
much about.
talk about. Yeah, who later plays Gwen Cooper in Torchwood.
I feel like she does a really good performance in this episode. It's a shame about her character's ending.
Yeah, she lights the matches and kaboom.
But I think
she's
it
never
shows. Sorry.
She's never seen of again until Torchwood.
I think she does a really good performance in this episode as this young woman with these powers of like being able to hear the Gelth, and I find she, like, the way that she knows about Rose and the Doctor, and Rose being from this other time. I find that really interesting. I think she just does that. She just comes across really innocent and really kind and really like you could really get on with this kind of person, but she's really that heart of the episode. And yeah, so I like Unquiet Dead. I think it is a very consistently good episode. And I don't know why they released figures of it.
What was that? Sorry.
They released figures of the Gelth. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I do actually remember them.
Releasing the merchandise, they had weird. So they had like the Mox of Balhoun. They had the face of Bo. They had the old woman from Unquiet Dead. They had Dr. Constantine from the World War II. They had some really weird choices of like action figures.
Yeah, they were pretty random, weren't they?
Yeah. Right, Aliens of London.
Yeah, Londonia, as the Romans used to call it. Do you know that?
I knew that London was founded by a black Roman emperor, but I didn't know it was called Londonia. I thought it was Londonus or something.
Londonia.
But yeah, Septimus Severus. Look him up.
I only found found out about that because of a certain 1965 Doctor Who story.
The Romans.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Or the
Romans. Anyway, the aliens of London.
That's where we're at.
We go back to modern day London, where things quickly go awry when an alien spaceship crashes into the Thames.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
if you want, I can actually give you a plot breakdown. If you want.
Yeah.
The Doctor intends to take Rose back to her home 12 hours after she left, but they actually arrive a year after they first left instead. Her mother, Jackie, is furious with the Doctor, and Mickey has been suspected of having something to do with her disappearance. Rose and the Doctor witness a spaceship crash into Big Ben and fall into the River Thames. The Doctor suspects this as a trick and discovers that the ship was actually launched from Earth, and that the pilot is a pig modified by alien technology. The Prime Minister can't be located and is replaced by Joseph Green, MP for not Flydale North, because that's you know who. While Margaret Blaine and Oliver Charles, other high-ranking members of government, are also called in. The group are revealed to be the Slitheen, an alien family who have compressed themselves into human suits.
Yeah, I was like, why are you looking at me strangely? What have I said? I said Tosh.
It's that new microphone, mate.
Yeah. It's not exactly new.
Well,
The stand's broken. And I'm just holding it. Yeah.
Naoko Mori. Naoko Mori? I think it's
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
I think so.
She was obviously. Oh, actually, she is called Dr. Sato in this episode, and obviously her character in Doctor Who was Toshiko Sato.
It was originally. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, in a Torchwood episode, they did actually reference that time where it was supposed to be Owen Jones instead of Tosh.
Mean Posh.
Who was supposed? No, not Posh. Tosh. Who was supposed to go to that examination of the pig.
Yeah. That's a good episode, isn't it? Isn't that the Memories one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't
Fragments,
been Torchwood for a very long time.
No, I like. Yeah. I think we need to do that as a bonus episode for people that like us. We'll save that for a rainy day. Because Tosh is in this episode. We'll move on. There's Trinity Wells. Her first appearance. Lachelle Carl, who played Trinity Wells, the news reporter. I think this is her first performance, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was her first
Wasn't it?
performance.
Yeah. I was thinking that. I was like, I swear this is her first. Yeah. And obviously we've got Penelope Wilton, aka
Harriet Jones.
trust me
Yeah.
on this.
I just had to think about that one.
Yeah. I mean, I see her more as the mum from Shaun the Dead.
Yeah, she's in Shaun of the Dead as well, isn't she?
Barbara.
Yeah.
We're coming to get you, Barbara.
Barbara. Barbara.
But now you need to put in the
Coming to
clip
get
from
you.
Shaun the Dead.
They're coming
And
to
Ed
get
says
you,
it.
Barbara. They're coming to get you.
This is just going to be an ongoing joke. Any character we mention as Barbara, we're just going to bring up.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a running joke. Anybody who's called Barbara. Wait until we
Yeah.
get to some of the early Hartnell stuff.
Oh gosh, that's going to be awful. Oh gosh, I can't wait. So yeah, I like this episode. I thought this was a strong episode. Yes, it's got farting aliens, but it's got a very interesting take on the fact that when a companion does leave Earth, what happens in the meantime, and if they aren't back, the next day, as the Doctor promises, the fallout of that, because that was never really explained in Classic Who. It was just, oh, I'm just going to drop you off here, and good luck to you. Whereas we actually see the consequences of traveling with the Doctor in this episode,
Yeah. And we also get our first cliffhanger in this episode.
Yeah.
Do you remember the cliffhanger?
Because this is the two-parter. The cliffhanger. Oh, it was the Slovene. No, yeah. It was the Doctor being zapped
Yeah.
with his name tag.
He's getting zapped.
Because he's brought in by UNIT. UNIT aren't really officially in this episode. It's more the British Army or police that bring him in.
Yeah, it's the army. Or is it UNIT?
I think it's a mix of the. I thought it was the police because they're being escorted in a police car.
Yeah, it's the police. I only just watched that episode a few hours ago.
I know. I to be honest, I find with this episode there's a lot that you kind of, the family drama aspect is really good. The Doctor working out what's going on is really good, but the bits that let it down are literally like the villains being villainy.
And eating the scenery.
The chewing of the scenery is very much front and center, and I think, yes, it works to an extent, but you are trying to portray Doctor Who as something other than just a show about silly monsters and going through time and space. It's you want to make this a bit more grounded, so I think the villains should maybe have taken a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
And then the director of this episode was Keith Boak, who was notoriously considered a bad director on this series.
Yeah.
Eccleston in future interviews said that he least liked working with Keith Boak because I think it was like he didn't know what he was doing, or he just found his style of working really difficult.
Did he actually come back in later series, or
Keith Boak. I think he's only done. I think. No, he's only done Doctor Who 2005, and I think that definitely makes Eccleston's point. Yeah, it kind of makes him. Yeah, I don't think he worked quite well as a director. Like Euros Lyn, for example, he had a good working relationship with the actors and the creative team, and most Euros Lyn episodes look fantastic. The same with Joe Ahern. Joe Ahern's episodes look beautiful. They really know what they're doing. Graham Harper as well, who was also a classic series director. He's the only classic series director to come on to Nuwho.
Yeah, he's basically directed soap operas, and that's it, really.
We have. Sorry.
Yeah, he was mainly a TV actor, director.
So we have Jimmy V, who was in the previous episode, End of the World. He played Moxa Balhoun. Jimmy V plays the Space Pig in this episode.
Yeah.
And we also have Paul Casey. Paul Casey, you would know him from pretty much every monster that needed a costume. He I think he was an Ood, he was a Cyberman, he was a Slitheen. He's had such a massive he's had such a massive impact on monster characters. And then you get appearances from Matt Baker, Andrew Marr, which are interesting. You get those celebrity cameos.
Yeah. None from what's his name? I forgot his name now. Oh, what's his name?
Whom?
Yeah, him. Only in that.
Whom?
Hugh Edwards. That's it.
Oh, don't. Okay. No. No.
Because he cancelled.
Don't mention. No.
Yeah. I don't think our US listeners will understand who Hugh Edwards is. Just look him up. We won't discuss this any further.
No. If we can't mention the 1986 Children Need special of Doctor Who, then we can't mention that guy either. There's parts of Doctor Who that you just can't go, and that's one of them. No. Anyway, this episode, this two-parter, was actually meant to be a commentary on the Iraq War. I heard that there was. Oh no. Yeah. I think RTD said somewhere that it was meant to be a bit of an allegory for the Iraq War. But it's apparently he had to get editorial. He had to check with the editorial policy before screening the episode because it was clashing with the 2005 general election.
Ah. Yeah, it's Tony Blair's third consecutive win.
Aliens in London received generally mixed reviews, which I think makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that were criticizing Eccleston for, like, there was someone who said that Eccleston was out of his depth, and someone found his performance lacking. But I don't actually see that make any sense because he still feels on top of everything, and he still feels in control, even though he's not in control of the situation. He still feels genuine as a doctor in this episode, even though the focus isn't necessarily about him and it's about the events surrounding him and Rose.
Yeah. I think he brings a great performance, to be honest. In all of his episodes that he was in, so he's just talking crap, really.
Out of his, yes. There were audience complaints with Rose's remark to the doctor saying, "You're so gay."
I get that.
But if we're gonna if we're gonna use the defense of it was a different era, well, I know a lot of people that were using the term "gay" to mean, I know so many people that did that. So I kind of see it as, yes, it's a bit unfortunate that she uses that expression.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of works for the episode of that time, obviously. Sorry.
It was all about happy slapping and hoodies.
Yeah. Well, it's like I knew a gang of ruffians, should we say, and they would use the expression "you're so gay" in very liberal terms, not liberal as in they would use it very very frequently and without forethought. So I don't necessarily see a massive problem with that, but I think people will complain about anything. You post a picture of a stick and people will moan about it or will fight over what it's really called. Yeah, I found this first part to the two-parter, it was good. It sets up a lot of things, but the real meat and potatoes is what we'll be finding out soon. Because cliffhanger.
We will continue with this in the next episode.
Next episode.
To be continued.
I don't have anything to put round my neck. I'll just put... That's me pretending to be electrocuted.
Yeah.
So the next episode, we will be covering episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Stay tuned for that.
Any final thoughts?
You got some? No, you go first, son.
Okay. So, one of the things I wanted to do when watching these 4 episodes and this series as a whole is I wanted to compare it to the Doctor Who series season 1 that we've just had, okay? Now, obviously, 20 years in that time, a lot can change from societal norms to the way productions are made, all this kind of jazz. I personally think that structurally and in terms of writing a great story, you can really see a shift that season 1 Shooties series lacks so much in the actual story quality compared to the episodes that we had in 2005. And bearing in mind that out of the first 4 episodes, only one of them was penned by a different writer. And I just think that the difference is night and day, literally. You see Shooty's first 4 episodes, and I think the only one that's really good, that's as good as series 1, is probably 73 Yards.
Yeah.
And yet he's not in it.
Yeah, he's not in it at all.
Like, at all. It's ridiculous. And it goes to show that I think, now this is a theory, as productions in the UK and across the world, but especially in the UK, as productions have had major changes from seasons being 2 or 3 years apart from one another, you know, big name actors being on these shows and them being these massive, like, spewing machine kind of things. We've lost the talent of a well-written story, and we're literally going over visuals. We're literally praising visuals over storytelling. And I really don't like the fact that you know the Eccleston series is leagues above Shooties, when you would think that with a progression of time comes a progression of storytelling. And it's almost like we're going backwards.
Yeah. We're definitely going backwards with the latest series. It's just like, yeah, it's just, it's not going anywhere. It's not progressing to the, like, it doesn't feel fresh, you know? Like this first series, it felt fresh and it reinvented the show for a new generation. And I think the latest series, I don't think it achieved any of the goals it set out to do, really.
No, and like, for example, Ruby Sunday compared to Rose Tyler, you don't you see a little bit of Ruby's backstory, but her backstory doesn't really mean anything in terms of, you know, her foster mum isn't really a Jackie Tyler type character. She's just, it's almost like she's shoehorned into the story without being any relevance. You know, Jackie Tyler was relevant because it was the actual love of a mother and this fear of your daughter being somewhere in time and space, and you have no idea where they are and what they're doing, and you know, you don't even get the concept of time travel because obviously, you know, it's Jackie. But with Ruby Sunday, she just doesn't come across as a character. She comes across as a caricature, as just this crude image of what a companion should be, but with literally no meat on the bone. There's no substance to her character whatsoever. And I don't like people when they say, "Oh, Ruby Sunday's such a great companion." No, she isn't. She's a cardboard, two-dimensional, just husk of a companion compared to the likes of Donna Noble and Rose Tyler and Amy Pond, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Exactly.
rant over.
No, I completely agree with them statements. Yeah, any other closing thoughts about any of the episodes we've covered today?
Well, I have to say that I really liked looking at the behind the scenes of them making Series 1. I found the Doctor Who Confidential episodes were really interesting. And they didn't speak down to the audience. You know, you were on the same level as them, and they were commenting on parts of production that were difficult and parts of production that were time constraining, and you know, the actors talking about their characters. You really got a sense of them understanding what is written on the page. And I just want to say that this is probably the best coverage of the 20th anniversary that you're going to get, because unfortunately RTD is not celebrating it in any way, which I think is absolutely disappointing, given the fact that he was the one who brought it back and he's currently the one killing the show. You know, it's such a shame that we're basically marking the occasion, and it's only the fans that give a crud about this.
Oh yeah, all the podcasts and YouTubers I follow that are actually putting their stamp on the 20th anniversary and what it means to them. And the current production team, they don't really give a monkeys about it, to be honest.
And I was also going to suggest that viewers, listeners, people that watch our podcast, if you want to give your thoughts on Series 1, if you have any thoughts you want us to read out on the podcast, we could easily set that up, and it would be really nice to hear. It'd be nice to hear from you guys. It'd be nice to hear from the audience and how they found how they got into Series 1. What was their beginning of this Doctor Who adventure, and you know, their thoughts on characters and storylines. And we'll read them out on the podcast. We'll talk about them. Send in your hot takes, send in your cold takes, send in your outtakes if you want.
Yeah. I'd like to know what people think about Series 1, because
Let's get a conversation going.
Yeah, let's get a conversation going. It'd be nice to hear different opinions and just us two rabbiting on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Yeah.
No.
So,
Comment, subscribe. Sorry.
yeah. I
I'll
was
shut up.
just about to do that. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and press that little bell as well.
If you want, share it with your friends. We'd love to grow our audience. So if you've got any people that would love to hear our thoughts on Doctor Who, share the podcast around.
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Facebook. Any others I've
You can
missed?
also check out my stuff on KeziahHydemedia.com. Link in the description.
We'll link all the stuff in the description. Yeah, so join us next time where we talk about World War III,
Dalek,
Dalek,
The
The
Long
Long
Game,
Game,
and
Doctor
trust me on this.
Dances?
No,
Or
Father's
is
Day.
it Boomtown? Oh no, Father's Day. Yeah.
Trust me on this.
I used to do that off by heart, but now I'm out of practice.
No, don't worry. I've literally got the Wikipedia on, so I can see all the episodes. I thought it'd make more sense.
I tried to do it by memory. Anyway, join us next time for them episodes. Bye.
See you later.